Getting to the bottom of the hate, the rise and fail of the Never Muskers. Yeah, the big Never Musk movement. That's what we're talking about. I'm Brian. Welcome to my Tesla weekend. Do you know this is the full version that goes out on Friday on the second channel, My Tesla Live? Or it's the condensed version you're seeing over the weekend on the main channel. It's whichever one you prefer. If you like more chat, come and check us out on Fridays at 7 p.m. because we do this. A quick thanks to newest patron, Greg Miller. Thank you for your support. It is folks like you who quite literally keep the channel running. So what are we talking about? Buying a Tesla, even if you think Elon is a total D-bag? I'm in the market for a new EV, and I was talking to a buddy of mine at work, and I casually mentioned looking at Teslas. He said he could never sink $90K into a vehicle, 90, where the company's owner is such a... Did anyone buy a Tesla knowing that they didn't agree with the philosophy of the owner? Top answer, and this is in the electric vehicles subreddit, not a place particularly friendly to Elon and all things he does. Top comment, you aren't marrying the man, you're buying a car. People refuse to buy Amazon due to their obviously terrible work conditions. Others have deleted Facebook due to dubious privacy concerns. You can boycott a car company if you don't believe in its values. It's not like there aren't alternatives. And there aren't. There are alternatives. Some are faster, some are cheaper, some have longer range. None really have both, or several, or all of the above. That would be quite an amazing car. In the future, I'm sure we'll have that. I'm sure most car companies' CEOs are complete perks, but only one of them loves to troll on Twitter. So that's the thing. He's visible. Being visible, I'm sure you would not like. There are people I have met who I like very much online, only to find that for some reason or other, they are disagreeable in person, and vice versa. Let's look at the alternatives. Mary Barra sided with the prior administration to dismantle fuel economy and emissions laws. Toyota, biggest donor to bad Congress members, lobbies to kill EV incentives and fuel economy regulations. Nissan CEO escaped a Japanese prison in a crate smuggled by a private extraction crew. VW, Dieselgate, Tennessee union busting. Honda saved a few bucks by using bad airbags. Everybody did. They didn't mean to. And for that matter, let's just buy a Hyundai, because then we're only supporting child labor. In America. He can be a jerk, but I can get a car with the most efficient and NASA saves billions by using renewable rockets. So this is all stuff. Ever heard of Steve Jobs? Henry Ford? Yeah, jerks. Disney too? Yeah. So what's this all about, man? What's this all about? I'll never buy one. I'll never buy one. Well, most of the people that you see making these wonderful claims, if you just click on their account and look into it, you'll find that they're not actually in a position to buy a $90,000 car or a $65,000 or $60,000 or $55,000 car. They're doing whatever the opposite of virtue signaling is. Vice signaling, I guess. Why do people buy a Tesla? It's not because of Elon Musk, according to a survey. So in this study, they brought in about 1,000 people, not just for the survey, but in focus groups too. And they found that a lot of people bought it despite him. Some people really liked him. But really, the reason people are buying the cars is because they're good cars. And you can argue that. You can say they're not good cars. But most of the people who say that have not driven one or owned one. And, I did see one guy say, well, I bought a 2019 Model 3 and I am selling it. Great, you're going to make a profit. If you really don't like the car, you came out ahead. That's a heck of a deal. As for Musk owners, Tesla has a lot to say about him. Tesla owners have a lot. While some of it was negative, largely related to views he expressed on Twitter, they felt his contributions to the firm and their cars outweighed those negatives. But you know what? Let's pretend for a second that people actually will stop buying them. Let's pretend that. Tesla's price cuts for its EVs in China might increase sales by 40,000 units in Q4 alone. It doesn't take a big discount to reach a new level of demand. So this is why I'm saying, you demand. The average price decrease, according to Troy, about 5 to 9% off, 5 to 10% off. 5 to 10% made it so big The demand's so big that the website crashed. The website was unavailable. There have been reports of people canceling orders that they had placed with BYD and NIO because, man, if the price is that close. So you individually don't have to buy one. And you can absolutely vote with your wallet. You don't have to. But that's not where we're at yet. Elon's kind of cyclical that way because he is, as my little note over here says, a-hole personality. And yeah, he does have a-hole personality. He rubs some people the wrong way. In the pre-show chat, we were saying how a lot of people dislike him because he says the truth. Yes, there are also people who dislike him because of how he says it. And there are people who dislike him because of who he is, through no fault of his own. People are saying, well, he's an apartheid baby. Right. We don't choose where we're born. And as soon as he could, he left the country. Well, his dad married his stepsister. Yes, but if you were to hold me accountable for all the terrible things my father has done in his life, I'm sure, and my mom for that matter, whoa, that would say more about you than me. So don't do that. The demand is very high, and you can always nudge it a little more when you need to. The clever thing they're doing in Germany is the EV credit, the very generous EV credit, is about to be cut dramatically. So what Tesla's going to do is say, hey, place your order now. If the order comes in now and we don't deliver it until next year, we'll make up the difference on the EV credit. This is a very quiet, very subtle way of lowering prices a little bit temporarily. So the prices won't go back up. They'll stay up. You'll just lose this little discount. This is going to drive a lot of reservations in the German market. So yeah, he is a whole personality, but you can do stuff to get around that. How popular? Well, let's look at his fame. Very high, of course. 93% of respondents have heard of him. Who are the other 7%? Okay, popularity. That's what we're looking at here. Let's look at it over time. It was up to 40. It was up 42, 44, down to 40. A 10% drop in a single quarter. Yeah, but more people know who he is. And really, I would have thought it's less than that, based on the hate you see online. You got to wonder where that's coming from. But again, his popularity is really not that bad. And the younger you are, the more you like him, it seems. Further to his personality, quitting Elon. His former fans have lost faith in the idea of the billionaire genius. I guess. Now that he owns Twitter, first, he's much richer. Second, he has a fervent, extremely online fan base, kind usually reserved for boy bands, and this fandom has helped propel the incredible success of his companies on Wall Street. So yeah, some people have cooled off on him a bit. He's done things I don't care for, but that doesn't impact. I would still be very excited to meet him and interview him. I still support him and his companies, even if I disagree with some of the things he does and says. That's, I think, healthy. I think that's normal. He's failed to live up to the larger-than-life images he has long presented. Has he, though? I think we just expected, just like Tesla's doing 50% year-over-year growth, maybe we expected his persona to grow 50% year-over-year. That can't really happen. He's already kind of maxed out. He's at 93% known. That's kind of a big deal. But let's look at, again, the demand issue. Days of inventory available. It got up to a high of 48 days of inventory in 2017. I think those were all three S and X at the time. But it's been very low ever since. This doesn't show Q3. I didn't grab the correct one. Sorry. But it's still very low days of inventory. As long as the days of inventory are low, extremely low, that means that there are not that many people who really do hate him that much, that they will never buy one of his cars. I've had strongly held beliefs about companies I absolutely despise that I softened up on over time. And Elon himself is likely to, he goes through phases. He goes through phases where he's where he acts out a bit. He goes through phases where he just works all day. He goes through quiet phases and noisy phases. We're in a noisy phase. That'll subside over time. So we're still waiting on some stuff. Let's say you really won't buy it. Let's say demand really does fall, which is not showing signs of yet, but let's say it does. We've still got the semi-truck coming, like immediately, like imminently, like they are in production now and they will be delivered shortly. We've got a little product, I don't know if you've heard of this one. It's called the Cybertruck, I think is what it's called. Can't remember. It's a pretty forgettable vehicle. When this enters production, they're going to sell a lot. Well, but those 2 million reservations, most of them are fake. Maybe putting $100 down is not a huge commitment, but there are people who bought 10, 20, 50 reservations, hoping that RoboTaxi would be ready in time. If you're one of the first 50,000 and you've got 10 reservations, are you going to buy all 10? Yes, because you can flip them for $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 profit each. The people who saw this and got in on day one with multiple reservations, visionary. I lacked that vision. I regret it. There are demand pools we haven't even gotten into yet, to say nothing of a compact car or a van or some other form factor that's not here yet. The Roadster, it's only going to sell, it's going to be a limited production kind of thing, at least by Tesla standards. So that I'm not really talking about. So, now the question is, FUD for cash. Who's hating hard on Tesla today? No, not the wonderful series by James Stephenson, which is wonderful. He's great. So who's hating? Do you know there's good money in hating? There is. Brand management reputation in the age of social media is a big deal. You can hire companies to do things like, well, just respond, just have a rapid response team is really all we're talking about. But if you ask them, can you make some comments in support of whatever it is I'm saying this week, downplaying whatever it is that happened, the answer will be absolutely yes, we do that all day. Remember the doctor who was kicked off the flight, who had his face bashed in by police who were under the impression that he was some kind of unruly passenger when all he said is, no, I'm not giving up my seat. The brand management that came out of the woodworks to try and mitigate that one was breathtaking. People were defending the airline saying, oh, they had every right to treat him the way they did, to cause significant physical harm to an elderly doctor on a flight who had done nothing wrong just because they overbooked. No human believes that. But there were dozens and dozens of these accounts with not much history defending it. And everybody does that. So if you look at the Fortune 500, what kind of companies do you have? Energy, retail, insurance. These are ranked by number of firms. All kinds of industries. If you're upsetting someone in energy and utilities, they're going to hire a misinformation campaign, likely. Maybe not all of them, but certainly one or two. Of the 61, if only 10% do, that's 6 firms dedicated to misinformation, to saying things that are demonstrably untrue. And they know that Elon is a universe unto himself, so that if you don't have to attack his energy products, you can attack his cars, his spaceships, his boring tunnels, anything you want, and it all flows out over the entirety of the umbrella. So who is he disrupting? Energy and utilities, for sure. Insurance, industrial manufacturing, consumer manufacturing, computer hardware and software, auto transport, telecommunication, transport, aerospace and defense, business services, metals, and mining. That is a big, big chunk of the biggest 500 companies in the world. Well, then he acquired Twitter, so we should add financial services, because he does want to bring in a WeChat kind of pay service, like is popular in China and other parts of the world. In Africa, people don't use banks as much as they just pay with their phones. That's coming. thus banking. Leisure, I mean, it's your time off, why not? And your car, why not? Media. There's probably more on this list you could argue. Education, we might be tackling that. I don't know if that money has come out of the woodwork yet. Consumer services, maybe, There's a lot. There's a lot of companies with money, and that's to say nothing about entire countries. Russia does not like him, and they have a well-known troll farm because he's negating their need to sell oil, their ability to sell oil. He's stolen their entire payload delivery business, their whole industry. And then, of course, he provided Starlink in Ukraine. Not super happy about that, and that flows back. But it's not just paid actors. So, well, are you calling me a paid? Are you telling me that I am paid? Where's my check? No. Maybe you're not paid. Maybe you're a useful idiot. That's a real thing. It's people who are easily propagandized. And especially on social media, you will find no shortage of them. The Tesla Q folks, those investors almost universally have very new, very small accounts. They're burners. These aren't real people. They're transparent. But I've met these people in real life. And I'm not saying you're getting paid by someone. I'm saying you should be, because you're doing their bidding for free. Yeah, how online Samaritans is adding fuel to the fire. These online misinformation campaigns cannot succeed without organic people taking up the mantle and running with it. That's why the airline had such a hard time pushing their side of the story, that clearly this old man was some kind of danger, some kind of menace to the sky, is because nobody was buying it. They picked up no useful idiots. Maybe a troll or two who agreed that bad things are good. But this stuff is easy. Hating on Elon is easy. It's sexy. Oh, his cars are junk, says the person who's never owned one. Well, my friend bought one, and he had 3 problems with it in the first 3 years. New cars have flaws. Even expensive new cars have flaws. You want to see bad fit and finish, buy a McLaren. Oh, it's breathtaking. There are shops, you can find them on YouTube, who fix brand new cars. And those hypercars famously have terrible fit. The fitment is bad. And then, of course, there's the people who are absolutely quitting Twitter. I thought about doing a whole show about Twitter, but I feel like it's been done, and it's going to sort itself out. Some of the complaints I have may or may not even become a reality. The $8 thing, if that's real, then I will absolutely do it. It will put my tweets above other tweets, and maybe that's a good thing. It's definitely good for me. I have no problem with that. I don't know how good it is for smaller, newer channels. I think it'll make it difficult for new personalities, new voices on Twitter to get traction. But we'll see how it goes. Opinion, Why I'm Quitting Twitter by Jason R. O'Day. Jason is not a bad guy. I looked at his other articles. He's not. Never mind the fact that his article starts, I'm not leaving because it's been commandeered by the richest man in the world, the eccentric billionaire who made his fortune peddling unreliable, government-subsidized battery wagons. Ugh, gross. Come on, do better. It's like the whole thing was a ruse to liquidate Tesla stock without tanking its value, but Twitter ironically forced his hand and put him in a tight corner legally. You're out your wheelhouse, my friend. No, the rest of it is him saying that he spends too much time on Twitter and it's not productive for him. It's something he feels he needs to quit even before Elon took control. And then you get to, I'm not quitting Twitter, and neither are you. And this is the same thing. He's saying the same thing. Twitter is a time sink. I'm not getting what I want out of it. Well, part of the plan with redesigning it is to make it so you do get what you want. So you do get the content you actually want to see. So that the bots and trolls are lower down. That would be cool. In short, the home I built is heated and lit by Twitter's continually raging dumpster fire. That's no matter what I swear publicly or to myself, I'm almost certainly not leaving the space. And neither are you. Yeah, there's a lot of people who have threatened to quit, and they keep not quitting. There are a lot of people who threatened to quit Facebook over it being redesigned. There are people who said they were going to leave YouTube because the layout of the thumbnails changed. Those are weird things. And in the end, no one does quit because you just get used to it. Changes are coming. I expect them to be an improvement. Maybe they will be better, and maybe they won't. But if it's slightly worse, no one's leaving. And if it's slightly better, it's going to grow significantly. The real truth is we're not going to see how much it grows or shrinks necessarily, because the first thing they're going to be doing is purging bots. And I mean purging them. So going from 350 million users, it could be half of them, are pared down or removed. And a lot of people are already praising, well, he's already running it better, or he's already running it worse. There haven't been any changes implemented that we know of. It would not make sense to make a big change this quickly before you get, your feet on the ground. You got to get grounded first. So, with that all said, okay, no echo. Thank you, Scott. Let's jump into the chat. But let me thank my patrons who get early access bonus content and ad-free experience in many cases. And, literally help keep the channel running. Well, there it is, and there you go. If you enjoyed this, consider watching the full 30-ish minute version over on the second channel, My Tesla Live. That's where we do the live stream every Friday at 7 p.m. and a podcast with Bear from Bear's Workshop every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific. So, what did I miss or misunderstand? Leave me your thoughts, your wisdom, your juicy brilliance into the comments below, and stay tuned, stay juicy, and I simply cannot wait to hear from you clever robots on the flippity flop.